Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Ashraf Rizvi. He's the founder and CEO of Gilded, a fintech company that fuses the world's oldest form of currency with modern technology, making gold physical, mobile, digital, and usable. Riz, as he is known, joins me to discuss a recent white paper outlining the benefits of gold as a store of value asset in relation to fiat currencies and cryptocurrencies. Riz, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me on the program, Jill. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
What are the benefits of gold as an asset versus fiat and cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, that's a great place to start, Jill. So, of course, gold has served as a store of value for 3,500 years that predates all modern currencies. And it's done a number of things if we focus on the most recent period, which is really the last 50 years, since President Nixon made the dollar non-convertible to gold. It has appreciated a pace of 8% a year versus cash, which is in the system only 4.5%. And it's reasonably equivalent to stocks and bonds at different periods. So, for example, in the 70s, gold did much better than stocks and bonds. 80s and 90s, stocks and bonds did much better than gold. And in the 2000s, of course, gold did much better than stocks and bonds. In the most recent decade, it's the other way around. So it has served as a very good non-correlated asset that behaves differently than stocks and bonds. So it makes sense from a full portfolio perspective. It's not very volatile, and it has served as a store of value in terms of currency that you've gotten a better return than, let's say, cash that you're holding in a bank account.
And how has Gilded harnessed the power of blockchain technology to make gold digital and usable?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we're leveraging here is not a public, such as Bitcoin or Ethereum type platform, but a permission blockchain. And so the purpose of that is to make that physical asset your title, your property. So that's unlike the financial banking system where it's a fractional reserve banking, which means that when you deposit money at a bank account, it's no longer your money, it's the bank's money, and they give you an IOU. In our case, the gold is your title, your property, you own it, and we use the blockchain to store that information and to protect your right. It's independently audited and validated. And also, by virtue of using a permission blockchain, that means we can share information with other parties that we should share with, the government regulators, other parties that could be partners of ours, whether they're financial institutions. But likewise, the client can also see and verify that they have ownership. They can see the bar, they can see the certificate of authenticity, and they can see how their ownership is, whether it's fractional or the entire bar, so that they have a trustable source, unlike, let's say, the banking system where only one party can validate. Here, multiple parties can validate.
Right, and Riz, this brings me to my next question. What are the benefits of using Gilded for both retail and institutional audiences?
So we believe the benefits are multifold. So one is by making it functional. We're really making by making it digital, mobile, and usable. What I mean is that we can make it behave sort of like cash, so that you can now buy it, hold it, so like you do with currency. You can borrow against it. You could pledge it as collateral. So all of these are features that are hard to do with the physical asset. As a lot of people say, physical gold is sort of like a really expensive paperweight. Here now we're merging 21st century technology of a mobile device or blockchain or even enterprise apps to make it such that that gold can be usable, just like any other financial asset, but all the benefits of being your title and your property, being able to do all of that kind of on an instant basis. So we can even move value. So for example, in the US, we're now in the process of getting money transmission licenses where we'd be able to do all the things of moving value from person A to person B or company A to company B almost instantaneously.
How does the Gilded solution help the environment by limiting the energy intensive movement of physical gold?
Of course, energy usage and just ESG generally has become a huge topic, as you know, Jill. And so we care a lot about that. Gold, it can be a dirty business. However, we're making it much cleaner on a number of different levels. One, by virtue of the fact that gold is already stored in the vaults and we don't have to move it, we're already saving the environment in that nothing has to be transported. Already, the bulk of the gold that's existing in human history is already out there, and we've already paid that cost. And so we don't want to move it, whether on an airplane or in a car or truck. And also, because we're using a blockchain that's permission ledger and not a proof of work or proof of stake, we're not consuming a huge amount of energy to validate these transactions. And then finally, from a safety perspective, we're following all the necessary KYC, AML processes. And by having that gold in a vault, it means that we can avoid people who are doing nefarious or bad actors or doing nefarious types of things, using it for money laundering, anything like that, because now we know exactly who's owning it and that asset is sitting in a vault.
Let's discuss the challenges currently facing consumers, investors, institutions, and governments in acquiring safe, easy, and transparent ways to send funds across borders. That really seems to be a big topic in the fintech space, of course, which Gilded lives in.
Yeah, the biggest challenge in cross-border are numerous. Of course, one, costs, very expensive to do it. Can range from 10, 15 basis points for large companies to as much as 10% for a modern day consumer who's trying to send $200 back home. So it's very expensive to do that. Second order of business there is that it's slow. You're very reliant on the local banking system when it's open. You've got a 9-to-5 situation. So all of these are really slows down the process. The third is that you're worried about the fact that you may be sending fiat, and that fiat, when it arrives in the other destination, maybe somebody has to go collect it. They're potentially posed to some risk of somebody robbing them. All of this, now we can do this digitally, where we can send it directly to your mobile device. And then finally, another important part of it is, of course, the store value. Fiat is losing value on a daily basis, right? So we see that through inflation. The $100 that we started with at the beginning of the year is now only worth $94 of purchasing power. Historically, gold has done a great job of as a store of value, where it has kept up or done far better than inflation. So all of those problems we can help with for the consumer or company or government.
Right. And finally, Riz, in the last minute here, why do you think Gilded has the potential to address the flaws in the current banking system and offer service to the world's unbanked community?
Of course, there's over 1.5 billion people, according to the World Bank, that are unbanked right now, and which is a really tragedy when you think about it, that these people have been left behind by the financial system. So one of the things that we're looking to do and started to explore with number of telcos is ways that we can offer a solution where those folks who have already a mobile device and have gone through KYC AML processes could use store of value, given that their other choices are so limited in that they can only hold cash. And that means they're exposed to a lot of risk, and that they could be robbed or they can lose their funds, and that those funds are, of course, devaluing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis as a result of inflation. So here we can provide them a safe, secure store of value in a regulatory compliant manner, and do it on a mechanism that they know, which is that mobile device that they already have. So we're pretty excited about the potential there. That's something I hope that we can introduce in the months to come.
All right, Riz, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks.